40 years ago the 1 week Margaret Thatcher came to force. At how period down there was a feeling of break economics, break policy, above powerful trading unions and political community who seemed just able of operating decrease. Quick striker to now and we once again see chaos policy and common feeling of economical discontent. So are we cladding else ocean change time for the UK and its economics? For the 1984 miners' hit, the colliers of Shirebrook in Derby were separated above the industry controversy in Mrs Thatcher's by the government. The coal mine's length lost and it's now the website of a kind of sports straight storage. Of year, Sports Strait has driven thousands of jobs to the city, but the evidence of one storage servant, Sam, it's not his actual behalf, shows fair how slight force several UK workers include. He describes toiling near associate who don't include a constant agreement in spite 10 year of uninterrupted facility, we're request to be purified love humans, love nice workers, in honor. 70 miles through the Spike area is Oldham, mentioned by the Office Space for Domestic Statistic not length ago as the largest devoid city in England. Its weaving production bring down in decrease in the medium 20th age in the recent plant close in 1998. The end of weaving handling has severely suppressed the regional economics. Gillian Holt, who has run a beautiful parlour in Oldham with 1980, tells me how things include modified. While I at first came there it was prosperous. We had a flower grower, pecker, jeweler, beautiful clothing shops. We include no of those currently. We include a lot more than mercy and deal shops. It very has modified rather sharply, she says. Several say how changing is now upcoming for Sam, Gillian, and for millions of workers, students, families and pensioners through the UK upcoming. No one is defending the neoliberal economical policies how they were 9 years back. Though the by the government has lost peaceful on it, says Labour's Dark Chancellor John McDonnell. Taxation intermittent for corporations and the wealthy, stream down economy, privatization, outsource, the marketplace will ever aware top, all of those beginnings are now creature surveyed. Reason. Since human beings aware the framework hasn't treated for them. Opposition political community ever say it's period for a changing, but a remarkable quantity of human beings through the policy range accept. It looks to me the communication of the UK social is, quite, says Jim O'Neill, who was a prudent Exchequer Secretary among 2015 and 2016. This ideas are change, says the political economist Diane Coyle of Cambridge College. How Thatcherite feeling of human beings manufacturing option as individuals, the individual segment creature dominating, the nature of the economics has modified manufacturing how lot less than actual and supposition. Though several by the government ministers accept drastic changing is in the airborne. I do believe down there thing is event, thing large, says the head secretariat to the Exchequer Liz Farm. We went via a few year, the Blair year, the Mr. Cameron year, wherever it was all on administrative policy. Currently we are possessing a more than basic discussion on our economics. Maybe you could urge it the 40-year itchy, as it is now for persons many decades with Margaret Thatcher led the Conservative Party to how General Poll win in May 1979. At the period, the conquered Labour lead James Callaghan summarised it up therefore, down there are times, while down there is a ocean change in policy. It later does not question which you say or which you do. Down there is a change in which the social wants and which it approves of. Down there was a famous strong desire for a drastic break down and though Mrs Thatcher's opponents thick felt it. I was a youthful trading association formal. On the threshold you knew how human beings requested several shape of changing, recalls Mr. McDonnell. How poll win has lost downward in story as a basic tier of the position war unanimity. Out went incomes policies for workers, center planner and complete occupation goals. In came decontrol, complementary markets, tax intermittent and privatization. Quick striker to the this days and we once again discover chaos policy and a common feeling of economical discontent. So is the else major time for the UK? Human beings include got utilized to the concept how salary growth year by year, but for a 10-year time next the collapse of 2008 they saw no growth in their residing standards, says Lord Heseltine, a secretary in Mrs Thatcher's by the government in 1979. How created a profound feeling of disappointment, especially external the Medpot of London and the southward east. How disappointment has managed supporting foreign matrix of drastic politics ideas, of a versatile main revenue, a 4-person's day 1 week, to a jobs warranty. Several see the next as main extension of the company operative motion, wherever an company is belonging not by shareholders but its workers. This usual job, it's not really carrying, says Kylie Walsh, portion of the overseas technology company operative in London. Francis O'Grady of the Trading Association Convention suggest a recovery of trading unions' force and impact to transactions in the operation of the quickly expansion gig economics. Youthful workers are expressive, how they wish the order to guarantee several hours. It's a main order how you should be capable to construct a lifetime on a proper stable work. But Liz Farm sees a risk in above regulation of business community and insists growing personality employment and the gig economics should be recognized as a release, not a jail. We've never had a more than able, more than aware, team of countrymen in the nation. Which human beings wish is to do the decisions by themselves, they don't wish who in Whitehall expressive them which to make. Which all appear to accept on is how the next of job in the 21st age could and should engage lot more than independence for person workers. This versatile environment of job is a big advantage and we should hug it, says ex-governor of the Banking of England Mervyn Tsar, who adds how he now high by himself as portion of the gig economics. If down there's a new unanimity on provincial politics, it's how down there should be a drastic degeneration of force to assist leftward over cities and towns through the UK capture up, places love Oldham, wherever Gillian Holt lives and plant. Everything the qualities and talents of human beings manufacturing decisions at the center, really frequently which motivates them is policy considerations, or their own carrier, that include anything to do in the regional areas on that they are manufacturing decisions, says Lord Tsar. I do believe we are a too centralized nation. I believe the final degeneration is to human beings by themselves. I ever trust how human beings do the top decisions on their own lives, agrees Liz Farm. If the comes to undergo, it will indicate more than decisions on formation, skills learning and transportation creature undertaken by regional political community, quite rather than those in Westminster. Following nearly 10 years of social segment strictness, it's wide thick felt how our social services requirement more than financing. It's got to be the at first period in 20 year we've seen more than rather than one view survey show the UK appetite suppressant to pay taxes seems to be change, says Lord O'Neill. It looks to me rather than reasonable governments should believe high taxes, particularly to prioritize social facility invest. And it's not fair tax but the more extensive part of the country wherever behavior appear to include displaced. Wide voting for the legatum institution in 2017 found powerful UK social supporting for statements such as this pay of execs should be covered and by the government as necessary to do more than to govern how business community act. It found firmly adverse connotations in the social reason in capitalism and a more than favorable experience of socialism. But although Francis O'Grady of the TUC thinks the order way striker for the nation is precise, she admits she is not certainly that way the nation will in fact break down. Is it departure to be how cut and burn sight how several backbenchers on the order of the Tory side would love to view? Complementary marketplace fundamentalist, shoot the recent left rights of trading unions and workers? Or is it departure to be a favorable sight, wherever we're looking for a lot more than equivalent Britain? It will be a coup, says ashore Mr. McDonnell. We've got to convert community. Which we're speaking on is a new economics how we wish to build, lot more than more democratic at each standard. Labour promises high taxes on the rich, an extension of social invest, the denationalization of specific public utilities and moves to offer workers a share in their firms. But does the add up to a true new philosophical of how our more digital economics should job? for several how remnant the lacking chunk of the puzzle. Currently as in 1979 the facility are mature for rather considerable changing, says Diane Coyle. This distinction is how at how period down there was a coalescing of specific ideas that gave Thatcher and her by the government a precise concept of which they requested to do. No one in policy now has the sight of which how position industrial, really uneven, economics does now to supply steady prosper for everyone about the nation.